Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the best television show not on television. This is your Sunday morning fantasy football wake-up call here at Awthentik and The Beard. We missed you guys last week. We were at the Commanders-Giants game where I got to hang out with a bunch of Giants fans and watch my Commanders walk away with the victory and, a first place in the NFC East. But we'll leave all that for a Tuesday, Thursday show. Today is about you, the people. Without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend. This guy is everywhere. You might see him on a sideline at a Maryland game. You might see him on Bleacher Report. You might see him taking photographs with fans of his who watches Bleacher Report in the parking lot at Commander Stadium. He is the best co-host in the universe. It is Mr. Awthentik. I left the door open for you. Come on in, bud.
Hey, man. How's it going, buddy? Thank you for that very warm welcoming. That introduction was definitely on point, man. I saw you was talking about the thing when we were leaving the game and whatnot. Homie from Bleacher Report was like, Awthentik? I was like, yeah, bro. And then they were Bison fans, too, man. I gave him that Bison.
Yeah.
You know, that was kind of dope how this whole gang already knew what it was, man. It was kind of locked in. But how you living, man, on this Sunday morning, man? You feeling good about your squad?
I'm feeling good because, I get the whole – you rarely get these days. You get these days on, like, Thursdays when your team plays on Thursdays or Mondays or a bye week. So, you get maybe, like, 2, 3, depending on your team, a year. I think you guys are Thursday night next week, no? Or
yeah, short week for the Giants going up against the Dallas Cowboys. So this is a must-win, bro. We have to win today.
Thursday is going to be a lit show here. If you guys don't know, we are live Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on Awthentik and The Beard. Shout out to the graphics department.
The graphics department was right on time right there. It's almost like you was saying the caption.
Ladies and gentlemen, as always, please fill that chat up with all your fantasy football questions. Today, Awthentik and I were going to go over some of the people that we think are, kind of flying under the radar, going to be some of the sleepers for week 3. We're also going to talk about some guys that you should probably put on your bench. Maybe not Aaron Rodgers. We'll see how C.J. Stroud does.
Thanks a lot, bro. Thanks a lot, bro.
We'll see how C.J. Stroud does. I think you'll be okay. I think
so too.
I don't have any relief for you on the Antonio Gibson situation, but at least C.J. Stroud might help you out in that situation.
Got me a little garbage time with the 5 points, so I'll take
that
it.
That was a brutal game to watch from the Patriots standpoint. They couldn't
40
block.
yards.
They couldn't block at all. Running, passing, there was no blocking.
It was terrible.
It was horrible.
Drake May looked okay though in garbage time. I thought.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's going to be okay. He's athletic enough to play in today's NFL. It's just going to be the fine tuning. I think the same sort of situation with most of these rookie quarterbacks that you see in the NFL these days.
Yeah.
So we'll be answering all your fantasy questions. We're going to go over sleepers. We're going to go over some guys to sit. And then at the end, we're going to do rapid fire. And we're going to pick every single game in week 3 against the spread and the over-unders. So hopefully you guys can put together some parlays from all the information that you get here live on the parlay. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. We got a lot of questions here in the chat already. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to get to a few that I've already highlighted, and then we'll get into the sleepers, and then we'll get into some sits for this week. So
awesome.
Any word on Jordan Love? Jordan Love, any word on you?
They haven't really told me if they're going to, put me in the game to start. It's going to be a game time decision here for me. Tell the fans here, look forward to Malik Willis. He's probably going to have a good day, his last good day, and then I'll be back next week.
Yeah, I think that's probably what we're going to see. So let's get to some questions here because these guys, they get here early before we're even here. They're here.
Facts.
They're at the gate waiting for the stadium to open up the gate and get into the tailgate.
All that good shit.
Big shout out to Juan Pena Jr. says, missed you guys. Who for my wide receiver 1 and 2, running back 2, and flex? So we can pick 2 wide receivers, 1 running back, and then we can do whatever we want with the flex.
Yeah.
These are our options here. DJ Moore, Alec Pierce, Calvin Ridley, Tank Dell, or Jerry Jeudy. Then his running backs are Kyron Williams, Jerome Ford, or Josh Jacobs.
Let's get the easy part out the way. The running back for me got to be Josh Jacobs, right?
Yeah, I think you definitely go Josh Jacobs. So he got 73 carries last week?
Yeah, definitely went over 30. So, I'd expect the same, especially if Malik Willis is at quarterback. They're going to game plan to try to stop it, but the volume should be there. He should be able to get in the end zone. I think it's a good, safe bet to go with Josh Jacobs. Now, I do like these other running backs as well, though, to consider for the flex. So maybe let's go to wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 here. I have DJ Moore on my team, and with the struggles that we're seeing from Caleb Williams thus far, man, it's DJ Moore is definitely not going off to a good start right now. Along with my other wide receiver, Brandon Ayuk, it's been a struggle for me. So you really don't have a lot of other guys there, though. That's the real subjective part here. I think Tank Dell's probably a guy. I can't go with Alec Pierce. I really can't go with Alec Pierce.
Yeah,
so it'd
Josh
probably
Downs
be
is
DJ
back
Moore.
this week.
Yeah. And Richardson has been struggling a little bit. I like to kind of get the evidence first and see these players get off to a good start before I actually like to put them in the lineup with confidence. So I think I would go no Alec Pierce. I guess we're going to go DJ Moore and Tank Dell. I don't know. What do you think about that? Jerry Jeudy did have a pretty decent game last week, considering Deshaun Watson and Amari Cooper not really having that chemistry quite just yet. So he might be the real number one over there till further notice. But I think for me, I like DJ Moore and I like Tank Dell. And then I like Josh Jacobs to start. I think I'm going Jerome Ford in the flex.
There's a lot of close calls with all of these guys here. I think we both agree, your running back 2 is going to be, Josh Jacobs. Wide receiver 1 and 2, I'm going to go Tank Dell, and I'm going to go Calvin Ridley. So I got burned last week by Ridley. He was on my bench, and he put up some pretty good fantasy numbers last week. And I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars team as a whole is under fire. And I think there's going to be a lot of pressure for them to perform well, especially offensively. They just haven't looked in rhythm at all.
Or you mean Tennessee Titans?
Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
I'm tripping.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about
last year's Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, but yeah. So Calvin Ridley, he was on my bench and he burned me. Pittsburgh defense, though, going up against Tennessee in this game. Pittsburgh's defense is pretty good so far. So
is that what it is? Maybe I'm.
Yeah,
man, I did some notes at like 4 a.m. I might be a little bit off here.
Pittsburgh, Tennessee. So that's probably going to be a 17-12 sort of game. That kind of changed. I was a little bit off on that one. I'm still going to go Tank Dell, Calvin Ridley. He put up the points last week. He burned me on the bench. Tank Dell, Ridley. I'm going to go Kyron Williams because for my flex.
Titans are going against the Packers today, though. So let me tell you why that kind of brings some concern for me as well, too, is because you got Malik Willis here. The Titans, they might get off to a good lead in that game and win that game, maybe comfortably. They're clawing for a victory for sure. So I don't know. If it is, I thought it was the Packers. If it is the Packers, I think that kind of makes Calvin Ridley a little bit sketchy, just a little bit, because it's probably going to be a ground and pound type of game from the Packers' perspective. You know what I'm saying?
I'm thinking about Chargers, Pittsburgh.
Yeah. So Chargers, Steelers. Yep.
So I'm still going to stick with that, but I like Kyron Williams as my flex over Jerome Ford because the Rams have no wide receivers. I think Kyron Williams gets a boatload of carries in this game. So that would be.
How's the share been with? Has Blake Corum been getting the carries?
He hasn't really been getting a lot of touches in comparison. I think a lot of people were really worried about that early on, but I haven't seen enough of Blake to worry me about Kyron Williams.
Yeah, he's only got 8 on the year, and he against Detroit in Week 1, he didn't get any touches.
Yeah, so for me, I think Kyron Williams is probably going to be a workhorse sort of situation in this game. So that's where we're going to go with that one, Juan. Cookie Monster
last week. What was that about?
What?
Against Arizona, Kyron Williams only had 12 carries last
week. They got mollywopped by the Cardinals.
Yeah, Arizona looks. Yeah.
That's the highest scoring game on the slate projected with the over under in the slate is that Cardinals Lions game today.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a good one. Defining season defining type of game right there.
Oh yeah, for both teams too. What's going on? Cookie Monsters in the building says Baker versus the Broncos or Dak versus the Ravens. This one's interesting because I was digging into this Denver-Tampa Bay game. Denver's bad, right? But their pass defense is not that bad. They've actually been pretty good against the pass. So Dak versus Ravens, you're gonna get so much volume from Dak, right? So I think in this situation, you're probably gonna have to look at your point scoring for your league, right? Like how much does your league take away for interceptions? Some leagues it might be 1, some leagues it might be 2, some leagues it gets crazy and they take away like 3 points. So I think Dak is more, probably going to have more turnovers than Baker. Baker's been pretty good with the ball so far this year. It's tough for me. I think I would probably go Dak off the pure volume.
I'm going to go Baker versus the Broncos. I mean, both of these teams is going to be tough because if all goes well for Tampa Bay in the second half, they're not going to be throwing the ball a lot. But I do foresee Baker getting out to an early lead, at least giving you about 2 touchdowns. Dak Prescott against the Ravens, I don't really expect too many turnovers. I don't. It just seems like a lot of people have this narrative about Dak that he turns the ball over a lot, but he doesn't really. Outside of the playoffs, obviously. The Ravens, they right now have the number 1 pass defense from a yards perspective. They're just not scoring points on the offensive side of the ball. I think that game's going to be close and somewhere in the mid type of scoring range. Dallas is going to struggle to run the ball, so I do agree with you on the volume part. Dak's going to have to throw it. He's going to have to win the game with his arm. But I just think Baker has potential to have a bigger game, and Baker's been a better quarterback through 2 games than Dak Prescott has. So I'm going to go with Baker versus the Broncos. I just think like the Broncos are an alley-oop for a big game, even considering that their pass defense has been pretty good.
All right, we're going to get to one more before we get into our sleeper section for week 3. Big shout out to our guy, C-Bands Never Stay Lacking 45. Says, yo, pick 2 running backs, 1 flex, that's a running back wide receiver, and then another flex. Okay, so this is his lineup of guys. He's got Gibbs, Brian Robinson, JMO, I'm assuming that's Jameson Williams, the wide receiver for the Lions. CeeDee Lamb, Jamar, J.K. Dobbins, Derrick Henry, Mike Evans, Josh Jacobs, Chris Godwin, DJ Moore, Tony Pollard. Damn, you got a squad over there.
Can I get a couple of these players? Because good God, you got a squad, bro. I mean, you got to go J.K. Dobbins, right? J.K. Dobbins has been the best running back through 2 games in the entire NFL. He's damn near averaging 10 yards a carry. We already know what Harbaugh is doing with the Chargers over there. They're relying on the run. They're allowing Herbert to be a game manager. And even if they get the lead versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, they should continue to run the ball. And even if they're behind on the scoreboard, they're going to continue to run the ball anyway. So J.K. Dobbins for me right off the bat. Running back 2, I like Josh Jacobs today. I think that he's going to get a lot of volume as well. And then now we got, 1 wide receiver and 1 flex left, right?
Mm-hmm. So what you can do, you got a running back wide receiver spot, and you have a flex.
Yeah, so wide receiver or running back. I mean, Derrick Henry might turn up today. I might pump the brakes on it. You got a squad. CeeDee Lamb or Mike Evans. That's the toss-up right there. It's funny because my homie Patrick was talking to me about a trade he had just done at the beginning of the year where he traded Mike Evans and Calvin Ridley for CeeDee Lamb straight up. I think I would go CeeDee against the Ravens. I got to wait to see it from CeeDee. I'm going big game from the Bucs today. Give me Mike Evans in that number 1 wide receiver spot, and then we got room for another running back, right? So I got the 2 running backs. Yeah, there you go.
So
1 flex. We got a flex.
You got four guys to pick from all of these guys. Damn, that's tough.
Give me. I really want to go Brian Robinson, possibly. I really do. I don't like Tony Pollard because the matchup this week is going to be a little tougher. Let's see. Oh, he's got Jamar Chase.
Yeah, you got to play. You got to play Jamar Chase against the Commanders, worst pass defense in the league. So,
yeah.
I think no matter what, you're playing CeeDee Lamb and Jamar Chase, in my opinion. Okay, so that's your flex, and that's your running back wide receiver. So then you got 2 running backs left. I think you have to go Josh Jacobs.
J.K. Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins.
How could you not go J.K.? He's averaging 9.9 yards per carry.
I'm worried about that matchup against Pittsburgh, and they're probably going to start Easton Sticks, who, so now Pittsburgh's going to probably play against.
I thought the injury was not that serious. Is
Herbert
not playing?
No, he's got a high ankle sprain.
Oh, my God. Dang, I did not see that. You miss
a
Saturday when you're working and you just, it's crazy.
So what's crazy is the team didn't even break the news. Herbert did. He's the one who told everybody.
He's already been ruled out pretty much.
He's game time decision.
With a high ankle, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing. You should probably just not play him if you're the Chargers.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that does kind of change things because it makes them a little bit more predictable. Their wide receiver core is not that great.
No. Quentin Johnson had an okay game last week, finally. Josh Palmer's also questionable, I believe, for the wide receiving position for the Chargers as well. Yeah, this is the real question here, Cookie Monster.
1 flex. But, you can just go 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs.
Yeah.
So you said you got to play CD and Jamar Chase, and then you could just go with the 2 running backs you want.
Yeah. That's pretty much what you do. But this is the real question.
JK and Who let him draft that team? Yeah, I know. That's really crazy.
So, yep, we got some more questions coming in the chat. We appreciate all the questions. Keep those questions coming in. Now we're going to jump in to our sleepers for week 3. This might kind of help you guys out a little bit in some of these questions. There's
not C-bands, because he don't need no sleepers.
Yeah. Somebody's probably got an entire team of sleepers if that's his team in the league.
Right.
All right, let's go into our sleeper picks for week 3. Fantasy. All right, Awthentik.
I'm not in sync with you. Your slow pauses, I'm just not in sync with you. I was like, week 3, sleepers. I'm like, goddamn, fire the whole goddamn.
No, I thought you came in pretty good. Shout out graphics department.
I'm overseeing the graphics department here. I'm firing somebody today. That was unacceptable from the Awthentik and The Beard graphics department.
All right, you're up first, sir. Who you got sleeping this week?
All right, so let's go with these sleepers real quick. Right off the bat, I like Gardner Minshew going up against the Panthers. The Panthers are just not good. And Gardner Minshew has been playing some really good football. He does lead the NFL in completion percentage right now. You got Andy Dalton starting, so I think that kind of yields towards a little bit more competition in the second half of this game. You won't see Gardner Minshew just handing the ball off. Maybe Andy Dalton can keep this game a little bit closer than people think. But the Panthers' defense is surprisingly pretty decent. Their pass defense has only been allowing 164 passing yards per game. It's somewhere like in the top 12 of the NFL, so not too bad. But this is one of those Beard kind of feelings for me. I got a feeling type of vibe. Gardner Minshew going to go off. I looked at his all-22 breakdown from the quarterback school this past weekend. Man, he's making some throws out there, man. The backside dig like 12, 13 yards down the field. So definitely like Gardner Minshew. I like Zach Charbonnet going up against the Miami Dolphins today. No Kenneth Walker with the oblique injury. And you're going to have a backup quarterback from Miami. So to me, that just screams that Seattle's probably going to just run the ball towards the end of this game. They do have the number 3 pass defense in the NFL as well. So I think that they're going to have a good job. They'll have a good chance at stopping the pass and just being able to run the rock and just kind of kill the clock. And it'll be Charbonnet versus the clock in the rest of this game. Miami week 1, they also allowed a bunch of rushing yards to the Jaguars. Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby, 24 rushes for 117 and a touchdown. Then in week 2, they went up against James Cook and Ray Davis, the dude that I wanted the Giants to really draft out of Kentucky, put up 107 and 3 total touchdowns. So they haven't really been that great against the run. Definitely like Zach Charbonnet today. I don't think he's going to be out there for anybody to scoop up, because if you got some smart people in your league, he's probably already owned by somebody. And for me, this is my last one, of the week. I think a stack, if you have a guy like George Pickens on your roster, I think a stack with Justin Fields today makes a lot of sense going up against the Chargers. And now I just got the information that they're starting a backup quarterback. And I think even though the Chargers, they're only allowing 68 passing yards last week, I think that this week's going to be a little bit different. Mike Tomlin has put together some really good game plans for Justin Fields to be able to not only use his legs and also be able to throw the ball, through the air, some deep shots to Pickens. They know it's coming and people can't stop it just yet. I think this is going to be the kind of day where Justin Fields gets 2 touchdowns on the ground and possibly 1 or 2 through the air.
We're gonna talk about Justin Fields in a little bit here. We're gonna talk about Justin Fields a little bit.
I sensed the cloud, coming over my head right here, and I was like, I can feel it. Beard's looking at me kind of crazy.
I love the Gardner Minshew play. Obviously that's like my spirit animal. The Carolina Panthers actually have allowed 5 passing touchdowns this year. They have the highest touchdown percentage passing defensive wise in the league. So they're giving up the most touchdown passes per drop back of any team in the NFL. So I like Gardner Minshew play by you for sure. So another Raider I got on my sleeper is Madison. Alexander Madison came over this offseason from the Minnesota Vikings. Zamir White is the running back 1, but Madison has kind of like found a way to get fantasy points in that offense. He's averaging 11.2 fantasy points right now through the first 2 weeks. He's got a touchdown in each game so far. And the other thing that's kind of interesting is that Carolina is allowing the second most fantasy points to running backs this season so far through the first 2 weeks.
Carolina's allowing the second and first most
everything. That's very true. I'll give you that. So Madison to me is kind of a sleeper. I think he had 6 targets out of the backfield last week with 4 catches. So he had a rushing touchdown week 1 and a receiving touchdown week 2. So he's kind of like this guy that is slowly finding a way to have some relevancy here in the fantasy world. So he's kind of a sleeper to me.
Can you sense my cloud?
I sense your cloud. I see it. I wasn't sure if it's one of the cats just knocked the light box or something, but
so did you see how many rushing yards the Raiders had last week?
It was bad. They haven't been able to run the ball.
Yards.
Yeah, they haven't been able to run the ball.
Crazy.
So it's a sleeper for a reason. You know what I'm saying? But maybe that means they moved to Madison a little bit more in the ground game because Zamir White hasn't been able to produce the first couple of weeks. So that's kind of something I'm going to be monitoring, that sort of snap count and carry, split usage between those two guys. Wide receiver position, Jalen Naylor. Okay, no Jordan Addison. I love Naylor. No Jordan Addison this week. He's got a touchdown in each game so far, and he's averaging 11.8 fantasy points. Not a lot of volume, but I think that game
reception against the Giants.
Yeah, I think that game is going to be pretty high scoring between the Vikings and the Texans. So I kind of like Jalen Naylor in that situation. Talked about the Miami Dolphins, and they have a backup quarterback, Jonnu Smith. He was a guy that I was targeting a lot late rounds during my fantasy drafts and my best ball drafts in the offseason. Now, obviously, backup quarterback. If you guys have been watching this show for the years upon years that we've been doing this so far, there's nothing I love more than a tight end with a backup quarterback, okay? Because that's the safety blanket for these guys. And I like Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith actually has the third most targets of any player on the Miami Dolphins this year, behind Waddle and Tyreek Hill. So Jonnu's already getting the targets with Tua. I think things just kind of get amplified this week with Skylar Thompson playing quarterback. So I like Jonnu Smith. And in Seattle Seahawks last week, they gave up 8 catches and 109 yards to the tight end position, Mr. Hunter Henry, for the New England Patriots. Yep. So that's another thing to monitor for Jonnu Smith and the Miami Dolphins. A couple of other guys I'm just going to throw out there for you all. Josh Downs is back from injury for the Indianapolis Colts. A lot of people said that he looked like the best wide receiver in camp for the Colts this offseason, and he has not played at all. He's been, recovering from that injury, so he should be good to go. The running back position at the Kansas City Chiefs is going to be very interesting to see how it unfolds. Obviously, they signed Kareem Hunt, so he's not going to be playing this week.
I did see that. That's a good move by them.
He's not going to be playing this week, but I'm curious to see how he makes his way in. Is he going to be a guy that's just going to, they signed, or is he going to be a guy that comes in and actually plays? Because Pacheco's going to be out for a while. Then you also got, the alligator guy, Carson Steele. Like, he sounds like a white running back, right? Like Carson Steele. He's not the fastest guy, but the guy has had an alligator pet since he was like 6 years old. And I guess that means something in the world of white running backs. If you're a white running back and you have a pet alligator, you're going to be on my radar. So Carson Steele, and then Samaje Perine. We've seen him in Washington. We've seen him in Denver. He's in Cincinnati. Yep. He's a guy that can catch the ball at the backfield. He's a guy that can, produce some pretty big plays. So I'm watching that whole split right there. Another guy is one of my favorite running backs who just has had bad luck, and that is Cam Akers. He's going to be the guy in Houston this week. There's no Joe Mixon. There's no Dameon Pierce. So it is Cam Akers, and I've always liked what Cam Akers can do. I just think he's a very versatile. He's explosive. If he can hold on to the ball, just don't fumble the ball. Make yourself useful. I think he can have a big game. Rams wide receivers, Tyler Johnson, Demarcus Robinson, Tutu Atwell. Who's going to step up with no Puka, no Cooper Kupp? It's got to be one of those three guys. I like Demarcus Robinson, but I think for volume, I think Tyler Johnson becomes the guy that Matthew Stafford goes to the most moving forward. And then the last one, this one is off the radar for me. I totally forgot about this guy. Devon Vele? Wide receiver.
Forgetting about him. He ain't never been on my radar.
Wide receiver for the Denver Broncos. He did not play last week.
Ooh.
Week 1, though, 8 targets, 8 receptions, 11.9 fantasy points. Tampa Bay allows the 4th most receiving yards in the National Football League through the first 2 weeks. So this guy is a sleeper that I'm letting him loose on everybody.
I like it.
That's a guy. I mean, I'm playing him today. Excuse me. I'm playing him today on DraftKings.
You gonna play him today?
He's
That's
dirt
like
cheap.
my dog Yosivas from the Cincinnati Bengals, who had the 2 touchdowns last week.
Yeah, I played him week 1, and he didn't do squat. And then week 2, 2 touchdowns. T. Higgins is back, though.
He only had like 9 yards, though, or something like that. 2 touchdowns.
All right, let's get to a couple more questions, and then we will talk about some guys that we should be putting on the bench. Make sure you guys get those questions in the chat if you all have any questions. Up first, our guy checking in from Twitch, Mr. Doom, says Dobbins or Josh Jacobs?
I'm going J.K. Dobbins. I mean, like, we saw Josh Jacobs last week go over 30 attempts. They're going to game plan for that today. With Malik Willis at quarterback, it's going to be heavy emphasis on stopping the run. Pittsburgh Steelers defense is really good, though, going up against J.K., but I'm banking on J.K. Dobbins and Harbaugh that can scheme it up to be able to get those big plays. J.K. Dobbins looks like he's never looked in his entire career. I do not remember him, even when he was healthy with the Baltimore Ravens, being as explosive as he has been with the Chargers thus far.
Man, listen, I'm a big J.K. Dobbins guy. I love J.K. Dobbins. He's just had bad luck, and I think it's a great situation for him right now in L.A., and he's taking advantage of it, and he's playing fantastic football. I think both of these guys are in very similar situations. Let's go with the narrative that Justin Herbert is out. Both of these guys have backup quarterbacks playing, right? Both of these guys are going up against pretty good defenses. Okay, I think the Steelers defense is probably a little bit better than the Titans defense. So they're both going to kind of get the box thrown at them. It's tough for me, but I think you got to go Dobbins because of the explosiveness, right? He can catch the ball at the backfield too. Josh Jacobs can also catch the ball at the backfield, but I think Dobbins...
Josh Jacobs still does not have a receiving touchdown in his entire career.
That's crazy.
That shit's crazy to me.
He got
one some point in week 1 or week 2, but that is just absolutely crazy to me.
Yeah, so I think you got to go with Dobbins. I think the big play capability is there more so.
And you got to look at it like this too. Like, are you going to bench the number 1 running back in the NFL right now? I don't think you can. You could get away with benching Josh Jacobs and he have the better game and you still feel all right, and it'll give you the data that you need moving forward.
Yeah, that's a good point. Big shout out to our guy Keith, Vintage Sport Flips in the building. He's actually set up at the Philly Sports Card Show. I think it's still there today. So big shout out to Keith. He's set up at the Philly Sports Card Show. He says, bottom of the barrel, Josh Downs or Samaje Perine?
I think I'm going to go Josh Downs.
Yeah, because you have no idea what's going to happen in Kansas City. What if Carson Steele gets 30 carries and he's Mike Allstott 2.0? You know what I'm saying? Josh Downs, like I said, a lot of people thought he looked like the best wide receiver in camp for the Indianapolis Colts. So I think you're going to go Josh Downs. They're going to need him. That Chicago Bears defense is good defense, though. So you are at the bottom of the barrel, my friend. But
Facts.
We still love you, and hopefully Josh Downs pulls through for you. And if not, you'll at least get an idea of what Perine is capable of and what that sort of carry share is going to look like moving forward. Big shout out to Jaden B. Najee Harris. That's a name I feel like we have not heard at all through the first couple of weeks doing the fantasy shows. Yeah. Najee Harris or Cam Akers. He gets bonuses for 100-plus rushing yards, and he also gets bonuses for 40 to 50-plus yard touchdown plays. Listen, Najee Harris is not getting you a 40 to 50-yard touchdown play. I think that's pretty evident.
Yeah.
Cam Akers, on the other hand, I think he can get you one of those. I'm going to go Cam Akers because, look, Najee still has Warren back there in the backfield, right? Cam Akers doesn't necessarily have that sort of competition in this game, particularly, obviously, with Pierce and Mixon out. So I'm going to go with Cam Akers. That Pittsburgh Steelers offense, God bless Mike Tomlin. He's doing everything they can. They're 2-0, but they can't move the damn ball and score points for their lives.
Yeah, I guess so a little bit. I think I'm going to go with Najee Harris on this one. I mean, Cam Akers hasn't proved anything this year.
No,
Nothing.
He hasn't.
Najee Harris at least giving you some floor games of 60, 70 yards. I don't think either one of these guys is really, a great play at the position, but the 100 yards, the bonuses, you're probably not getting either one of those. But I think Najee Harris is a guy that he's going to get the rock. Cam Akers today might get it, but When's the last time Cam Akers showed us anything? When he was with the Rams before he tore his Achilles, whatever it was? Nah, I'm not going with the Cam Akers vibes.
Okay. Well, we just got a word here that you will not be playing this week.
I try to tell him. We really got word at the beginning of the show when I told y'all, but
yeah, very true. Big shout out to Marjorie, always dropping the Marge bombs here in the chat for us on Sunday mornings. She also is reporting that Justin Herbert is expected to start today per source.
What is this high ankle? Like, okay, the player comes out and says, yeah, man, they're not telling y'all, but I'm hurt. I got a high ankle sprain. And then you about to play on a high ankle sprain? That ain't no high ankle sprain.
I don't know how much. There's going to be a lot of tape on that sideline.
Yeah.
Lot of tape. Big shout out to Doom checking in from Twitch. Says, with Kittle out, who do you pick up to play? Top tight ends are Cole Kmet, Zach Ertz, Otten, and Jonnu Smith.
You like Jonnu a lot. Ertz had a pretty good game last week against the Giants. I think it was 6 receptions for 60 or 4 for 60. That's not too bad. The question is, are they going to be able to get in the end zone this week? They definitely couldn't do it last week. Cole Kmet struggling with the quarterback, man. Like, Caleb Williams not really having, the kind of start to a season that we thought he would get. I think Jonnu Smith is probably the safest play here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a toss-up to me between Jonnu Smith and Zach Ertz. I love Jonnu Smith this week. My only concern is if I'm looking at Jonnu Smith and I'm looking at Zach Ertz, which one of them has the better quarterback?
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to go Zach Ertz. But I would not be upset at Jonnu Smith. As I said, he's a sleeper. He's a guy I'm playing in a lot of my DraftKings lineups today. So I think you have good options there between those two guys. I'm in a similar situation, not with George Kittle, but with Evan Ingram, where I had to pick up a tight end last minute here this week too.
I want to see what Cole Kmet did the first 2 weeks in those tough games. So
bet you
1 reception against Tennessee and 4 against Houston. So yeah, it's what I thought. So I like the two we chose.
Big shout out to Doom once again checking in from Twitch. Says, so should I play Justin Herbert or Bo Nix? Ooh.
0 QBs on waivers. I'm not playing Bo Nix. That's it. There's no assessment to it. Okay. And I like Bo Nix. I thought he looked good in preseason, but he's thrown 2 interceptions in both the first 2 starts. Yeah. Can't imagine his fantasy points have even breached like 10 points. I'm going Justin Herbert.
It makes it hard because it's Bo Nix, right?
Yeah.
I guess you roll the dice, go with Herbert. The worst case scenario is Herbert gets you 120 yards on like 15 pass attempts and maybe a touchdown. Bo Nix is going to lose you more points than that on the possibility of turnovers. So I think Awthentik hit.
You've seen the program, right?
Yeah.
What's the saying about injuries from the program?
What with best? It's not the. It's are you hurt or are you injured?
That's why I asked you first. Have you seen the program? Right? Are you hurt or are you injured? Omar Epps looked up and said, "Well, what does that mean?" He was like, well, if you hurt, we can get you back into the game. And if you're injured, we can't get you in the game. If you're hurt, it doesn't matter. If you're out there on that field, go out there and perform. This is easier than we're making it, I think. Justin Herbert.
Yeah, Justin Herbert it is. Big shout out to our guy, Platano Power 2 times with the $9.99 super chat. Says, love the streams. You guys are GOATs. Best TV show, not on TV, but I have you on the TV. Stuck between Cam Akers or Tank Dell in the flex. Keep up the great work, guys. Much love. We appreciate you, my friend. I think I know where Awthentik's going with this one.
Tank Dell.
I want to tell you Cam Akers, but we're going to have to give you some, unanimous answers here. And I think being on the same team, I think Tank Dell, I think this is a Tank Dell type of game against the Minnesota Vikings. So I'm going to go Tank Dell, but I don't think you could play either one of these guys and miss out necessarily on a major point differential.
I'm with you on that.
So I'm going to go Tank Dell to give you a little bit of solidarity here between Awthentik and The Beard. But we appreciate you as always. Platano Power 2 times for the super chat. Big shout out to Nafia Stewart. This is an interesting one right here. Deontay Johnson or Jawan Jennings?
I'd go Juwan Jennings. The Panthers' offense has just been bleh.
What about with Andy Dalton, though?
Gotta see it first, bro.
The
They
Red
even
Rifle.
said that they're not benching the kid for the whole year or nothing like that. This is just a timeout. They called it a timeout.
Listen. This is no longer our title here in Washington. The Carolina Panthers are the worst franchise in the National Football League.
Yeah, they were last year too. That's the crazy part about it. We thought they were going to improve a little bit and be at least a serviceable football team this year, but they've been worse than I could have ever imagined. It took everything in my power to cut Xavier Legette from my lineup the other day. I'm like, this was my favorite rookie wide receiver, pretty much, like from a value standpoint coming in. Can't get him the ball.
I mean, you bring in Dave Canales to fix Bryce Young. Not only does he not fix him, he gives up on fixing him after the second week.
2 games. It's crazy, man. Jawan Jennings ain't going to get you much, but big play kind of guy.
No Debo Samuel. No George Kittle.
Brandon Ayuk has been very average these first couple of games, too. Still trying to get his feet wet, missing out on camp.
Listen, I like Jawan Jennings in this situation. But moving forward, I think it's so tough because we're in week 3, right? We don't have a lot of data. We already have a quarterback change. I like Deontay Johnson's prospect more than I like Jawan Jennings' prospect because I think once Debo gets back and Kittle is back, Jawan Jennings kind of goes back to that 2-3 targeted game sort of situation. And then Ricky Pearsall, when he comes in, what does that do for Jawan Jennings? I think down the road,
Ricky Pearsall.
Deontay Johnson is, I think, a better prospect fantasy-wise. Today, though, I think you go with Jawan Jennings.
Let me give a bit of advice here on this, too, that you can use moving forward that I had to learn the hard way, to be honest. When it comes to, like, these kind of decisions, just look at the team and pick the better team. Because a bad team is never going to yield that many great fantasy players. And if you look across the league right now, it's like, I'm a Giants fan, so I understand it. Like, all we got for real on offense is Malik Neighbors. That's a rare case. When you go around the league and you look at these teams that are 0-2, that are off to bad starts like this, their players just aren't producing, and that's the reason why they're not winning games. So the farther we get along and we get down the season, always take a look at that. Like, and I made the mistake in this draft this year. You got to draft players that are going to be on good football teams because good football teams score a lot of points per game. Teams like the Carolina Panthers, they're not going to score a lot of points. So it's like, where do you get your fantasy points?
Listen. That's why they call him authentic, ladies and gentlemen. That's
I keep it real, and I'm struggling. I'm sitting at 0-2 right now, and I'm like, why the hell did I draft 2 and 3 players from the Chicago Bears? Falling for the hype that everybody was falling for, thinking that team was going to be contending for the North, which I don't think that's going to be the case now through 2 games.
This is an interesting one because not a lot of people thought that this guy was going to be a guy that we talked about. Derek Carr or Jared Goff? Deedon Shelton.
Give me Jared Goff. I think that the Derek Carr, relying on the big plays, that's got to come to an end. I do think that Derek Carr will be a guy that will get like over 4,000 yards this season, but when all said and done, he's not going to be leading the NFL in passing touchdowns like he is. He's not going to be leading the NFL in quarterback rating, over 90 in QBR right now out of 100. I just don't see that, that's not sustainable to me to be relying on big plays from Rashid Shaheed and Alvin Kamara out of the backfield catching 52-yard screen passes and taking them to the house. I just don't see that being a consistent thing. So I think it starts with Goff today. I'd go with Jared Goff.
Both of these teams, both these quarterbacks are playing, and I think the 2 highest total projected totals of the week. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But I agree with Authentic. I'm going to go Jared Goff. Carr doesn't have a lot of attempts, and that that correlates with what Authentic was saying about relying on the big play. So I think you're going to go Jared Goff here. I think you're going to get 2 exciting games though between the Eagles and the Saints and the Cardinals and the Lions.
And good point you bring up because with the Eagles and the Saints game, the Eagles secondary, their pass defense is terrible. So this could be that I'm always talking about the data. This could be that last week to keep Carr in the lineup to see really what's good. And if Carr can't put up that big game against the Eagles, then you know what it is moving forward. Mm-hmm. But the Eagles' defense, their pass defense has been terrible since Denard Wilson's been gone.
Yeah, well, you're going to hammer that one in. Remind them.
All the time. He should have been the Giants' defensive coordinator.
Yep. Big shout out to Pablo. Says, what's up, guys? Love the content from both of your perspectives. My question is, should I start Jalen Hurts or Baker Mayfield? I have Mayfield starting in my fantasy, but wanted your take on this.
I think it's a coin flip here. Baker should have a good game today, but Jalen Hurts gives you that extra capability of being able to run tush pushes near the goal line. He's likely to get a rushing touchdown in every damn game. I think I would go Jalen Hurts. The Beard might think a little bit differently because I did pick the Philadelphia Eagles to win that game coming up against the Saints. So I think I would risk it to try to get that biscuit one time, and I would start Jalen Hurts.
I really could go for a biscuit right now, by the way. Listen, I love this opportunity of these two quarterbacks because they present both, a lot of upside here. But I am a sucker for a quarterback that can run when it comes to fantasy. And I think Jalen Hurts showed you that he can still produce on the ground last week. I'm going to go Jalen Hurts. I think that just with the opportunity for the legs, it gives you a little bit more upside points-wise over Baker Mayfield. But it's a good situation to have right there with those two guys. If one of your quarterbacks goes down or if a matchup presents itself and then your bye week, to have a guy like Baker Mayfield and Jalen Hurts on your team is a positive. We're going to get to a couple more questions, and then we'll get to the sits before we answer the rest of your questions, and then we'll pick every single game. Week 3, SHU Carter, Malik Neighbors or Amari Cooper? Neighbors. You got to go Neighbors.
I think I'm going Neighbors, too. Amari Cooper's been off to a pretty slow start here, has dropped a touchdown opportunity in each of the first 2 weeks. I watched all the tape from both their first 2 games. They're not in sync. They don't have the chemistry that they, need to have to be able to win games the way that they want to win games right now. I've seen Amari Cooper dropping slant routes and short stuff and all that. And I just think with the Browns right now, that whole wide receiver core is a little bit overrated. But I think Deshaun Watson's doing a pretty good job playing off script. I don't think you can go wrong with either one because this should be a pretty close game if the Giants can play up to their capabilities. That's the big question mark, though. That's really the big question mark. And if the Browns do run away with it, they'll probably do it on the ground. So I think I'll go Neighbors.
Big shout out to Sarah checking in. Says Rachaad White or James Cook?
Ooh, that's a good one right there. That's really a good one. Let me check these matchups really quickly.
They both have backup running backs that I love.
You said they both what?
Have backup running backs I love. Bucky Irving and Ray Davis.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The Ray Davis hype train during when I was doing Prospect Talk was way up there. I'm going James Cook.
Going James Cook as well. Listen, I think this is a tough one. You're in a coin flip situation. James Cook has proven to me that he is a guy. I love his ability to run in between the tackles. I love his ability to go outside, catch the ball. He has explosiveness. Josh Allen trusts him. I think that's super important to have Josh Allen's trust in that type of offense. They're feeding him the rock more this year than they were previously. I love James Cook. Rachaad White he's not bad, but he's that kind of guy that just kind of keeps you like in that 11-point range. James Cook is a guy that can get you 20 points out of nowhere. So yeah, I like James Cook in this situation. And then up next, we got Jaden 714 says start one flex Neighbors or ETN. I gotta go Neighbors. I just the thing is that the data's through 2 weeks, right? The guy is what, 3rd in the league in targets through the first 2 weeks.
Something like that.
You have to
18 in one game lets you know what it is. Like, I mean,
yeah. And so, like, PPR situation, it's like you're not relying on a touchdown from a guy like Neighbors. Because if he gets you 10 catches, right, you're at 10 points right there in a full-point PPR. Travis Etienne's going to have to score you a touchdown to get you closer to 10 than Neighbors without a touchdown. So you're relying a little bit more on Etienne to get you a touchdown. Although Etienne does catch the ball at the backfield, we have seen a little bit more Bigsby this year than we have last. So it's closer than I made it sound, but I just think that Neighbors is a must-play right now until Daniel Jones folds completely.
Yeah, and the Jaguars have been struggling to win games. So are they going to be even running the ball late against the Buffalo Bills this week? I don't think so. But Travis Etienne did have a big play last week. You know, he had that big 40-yard run before Trevor Lawrence ran for a 36-yard run. So, I mean, he does have big play capability. If you get the bonuses in your league, maybe Etienne breaks out. He's one of those running backs that I feel like should be at the top of the league, but it's just not all working out for him right now.
Yeah, that offense just does not look right as a whole. There's just a little bit of like I said when we were talking earlier in the show about a wide receiver that's not on their team anymore. But the rhythm of that offense is just not. It's not clicking yet. It's
third
weird.
down conversion struggling, and it's just. And I don't think any of it is really on Trevor Lawrence. I think he's playing the same thing I say about Deshaun Watson. I was telling the homie Tommy Football about this in his DM. Like the same thing about Deshaun Watson is the same thing about Trevor Lawrence. They're doing everything in their power, at times almost trying to play hero ball because the surroundings around them are not showing up the way that they should. No Evan Ingram today. That pass attack's probably going to struggle again. And they'll be down on the scoreboard and have to throw the ball, and it'll be on Trevor Lawrence to try to dig them out of that 0-7 losing streak that they've been on since last season. So we'll see how that goes. I'm rooting for him. I don't like to see players get the bag and then not live up to the contract. I love seeing the Lamar Jackson type of situations where you get the bag and at best case scenario you win the MVP of the National Football League.
Yeah, because they were definitely having a field day on Sports Talk Radio with Trevor Lawrence the last couple of days. The whole overrated chant, and it just leads to this whole conversation where the league is filled with nothing but overrated, overpaid quarterbacks right now. So
yeah,
we're 2 weeks in, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna get some more data here soon. Don't worry. But before we get to the rest of your questions, we're going to jump into the section that's going to have a little bit of contradictory from The Beard and Awthentik as we talk about some guys that we are going to be sitting week 3 in fantasy football. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just start this one out because, Awthentik, let the cat out the bag when he pointed at me, and I'm going to have some contradictory here. Listen, I am a Justin Fields guy. Let me rephrase that. I am not a Justin Fields hater whatsoever.
That's a better way to say it.
Because I don't necessarily promote Justin Fields, but I also think that has not been given a fair shake since being in the league. Let's put it that way. I think he's a super talented football player, but the numbers don't lie when we're talking fantasy. He's only averaging 11.7 fantasy points per game. I think that's probably one of the worst quarterback fantasy averages through the first 2 weeks, hands down. Now, normally with Justin Fields, you can get by with him maybe not necessarily producing that much through the air if he's killing it on the ground. And we know that he has the capability to do so. And I love running quarterbacks, but he's only averaging 42 yards on the ground through the first 2 games with 0 touchdowns. So for me, I just can't put myself to start Justin Fields right now. And they're 2-0, and it's not like he's doing bad, but he's just not producing. And the Los Angeles Chargers have the #1 pass defense in the NFL when it comes to fantasy. They've only allowed 1 passing touchdown through the first 2 weeks as well. So for me, it's a sit Justin Fields type of week.
Here's the real question, though. To sit somebody, do they have to be in the starting lineup? Because you likely didn't have Justin Fields as your starting quarterback anyway, right?
Well, I mean,
he's
one of those guys. Okay, to correlate that to what I said earlier, he's one of those guys that a lot of people start because of the possibility upside of the rushing from the quarterback position. And if and maybe even if you're doing daily fantasy, you're doing a DraftKings lineup. He looks like a guy you're like, man, this guy's kind of cheap. He could get me some rushing touchdown, maybe 50 yards, maybe a touchdown through the air. So I'm going to correlate that and double down with you since he might not be a guy in your starting lineup. Here's a guy that's probably in your starting lineup that you shouldn't have in your starting lineup, and that's his teammate, George Pickens. Okay? George Pickens is one hell of a wide receiver. He is a great athlete.
This guy off the screen.
He is a fantastic football player, okay? But he's averaging 9.2 fantasy points per game. And you're going up against the #1 pass defense in fantasy right now in the Los Angeles Chargers. So I'm not playing George Pickens. I'm not playing Justin Fields. Matter of fact, the only player on the offense that I probably would be playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers is Pat Freiermuth. And that is only if I have no other options. So
this is the 50-minute mark of the parlay week 3. Okay. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, I'm just, I'm a
Graphics
little
department.
under the weather, and I'm getting a
We need
little
you guys on
excited
it.
here.
Okay.
Are you setting that to the shorts department just in
Yep.
case?
Yep.
Okay.
Sebastian,
All
did you hear
right.
that?
I'll give you one more.
We
I'm
actually
gonna give
have a
you
shorts
two more
department.
because we're gonna tag team on one of these. My next one is Rome Dunze. When in Rome, do not play Rome. Okay?
Mm.
He's only got 3 catches on the year. I know he's hurt. I know he's banged up, right? And that's the reason why I kind of threw this out there, because now he's fully healthy. He's 100%, right? So a lot of times when you hear that, you're like, okay, now it's time to cook. Rome going to cook this week. But he's got 3 catches. And the Colts allow the 8th fewest passing yards in the NFL. And Caleb Williams has not shown me enough to believe in Caleb Williams in fantasy right now. I'm not saying that he's a bust, as you guys love to say, and stuff like that.
I don't like how that word has been redefined.
Oh,
I don't like that.
Yeah, it's it's a generational talent bust, garbage time, those sort of things. Like those words just
generational talent. I'm okay with. Garbage time is a real thing.
But you can't use it. Listen, this is the thing. If you're gonna be a guy that gets paid to talk about guys, right? There should be, you can only use the word generational talent once a generation.
Once a generation, yeah.
Because otherwise you're overusing it. That's the problem, is people just overuse it. But yeah, I just think that Rome, until that offense starts to click, he's just it hasn't looked good so far, so I would stay away from him. And the last one is going to be a guy and another guy that I think a guy that I know might be talking about. That's the Dallas running backs. They're awful. Okay, but neither one of them even averages double-digit fantasy points. They're both under 10 fantasy points per game. And they're going up against Baltimore, who allows the fewest rushing yards in the NFL. So those are my guys that should be riding the bench in week 3.
Yeah, and me and the Beard did not have a production meeting or anything to talk about this, but I got the Cowboys running backs versus the Ravens as well. They're only allowing 49.5 rushing yards per game. That's kind of ridiculous. Week 1, and it's not like these are slouch running backs. Talked about the Raiders in week 2. They only allowed 27 yards in that game. And then they held Pachenko to 45 yards on 15 rushes. So definitely sitting the Cowboys running backs maybe for the remainder of the year at this point. They're just not looking too good. For me, the Packers wide receiver core going up against the Titans, and it's not because they lack talent there. It's just because you don't know which one of these guys is going to step up to the plate with a backup quarterback in Malik Willis here. You got Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, Dontavian Hicks, who I drafted pretty late. I had to cut him early on. He doesn't seem to be getting a lot of targets. And the Titans, man, say it with me, the Beard. Denard
Wilson.
That is the reason why. Tennessee Titans right now got the number 1. I ain't even talking about fantasy. I'm talking about the number 1 defense in the NFL as far as it goes to passing. That's been the case everywhere Denard Wilson goes. It happened in Philly. He left Philly. They went from first to damn near worst. The Baltimore Ravens were 24th before he got there. They went to first when he got there. And now he left there and he went to the Tennessee Titans. And I might not be able to get to say this at the end of the season, so I'm going to say it 2 weeks in. They got the number 1 pass defense in the NFL right now. So definitely think it's going to be a struggle for the Packers wide receivers in the Beard. You're not going to like this one. Terry McLaurin going up against those Bengals. Bengals have the 2nd-ranked pass defense right now. And Terry McLaurin's been off to a tough start. I think it was 2 fantasy points in PPR the first week, 5 the following. They even tried to kind of scheme him open in that game against the New York Giants, and he still didn't have any success. He had under 40 yards in that game as well. So I'm going to sit Terry McLaurin for this week, possibly next week, to kind of just see if Jaden Daniels can mature as a passing type of quarterback and see if he can stretch the field with Terry McLaurin, and then I'll consider bringing him back in the lineup.
I almost put him on my list too. And I think that the way that you just ended that makes perfect sense, because it's like, Terry McLaurin's your number 1 guy, right? Most of the time you're starting your number one wide receiver in your fantasy team, especially if you went heavy running backs first and you're kind of relying on a guy like Terry McLaurin to carry your team. But the production is just not there right now. And for me, I'm in a situation where I have him on 2 of my 7 teams, and I'm benching him, I think, in both of them. One of them, I have T. Higgins, and he's back now 100%, and he's going up against Washington's defense, which is the worst in the league. So I'm going to start T. Higgins over Terry McLaurin all day. But like, my other league's a little bit more difficult. But I agree with you. I think Terry McLaurin is definitely a candidate to be sat on the bench.
I like the consistency too, because you picked the Bengals to win the game, and you spoke about that on our preview show, and it's consistent. You talked about how this is a bad pass defense and that they should be able to, throw the ball through the air, especially early on in this game, first 3 quarters and whatnot. So I like that. T. Higgins should have a pretty big game, unless my guy Yosivas comes out there and gets a couple of them targets, finds his way into the end zone. Then the graphics department will need to clip this up too. It's at 55-35, guys. All right.
Big shout out to our guy Lucas with his traditional South Beach $3.05. That's a 305 for those of y'all that don't know. Wants to know,
for those of y'all that do know,
304.
We're not going to talk about it. If you know, you know.
I don't
it's one
know.
of those. And you
I feel like I should know, though.
You've been out
Should
there
I
for a
know?
long time as well as I have, but that you don't know what a 304 is. Yeah. Just look it up. When we get off air, just look up Urban Dictionary 304.
Okay,
I'm sure people in the chat know.
That's my homework. I feel old now. We're going to go with Dalton Kincaid or Sam Laporta.
Yeah, give me Sam Laporta.
You know what? I heard something funny. I heard somebody say, is Sam Laporta the new George Kittle?
Yeah. Yeah.
Meaning,
so.
Like, he has these games where he just, he does everything that doesn't show up in the fantasy stat book, but
that's why it's fantasy football and not real football.
Yeah.
Because even when a guy like Laporta is not showing up in the statistics in fantasy football, he's still on that field drawing attention.
Yep. And he can block. He's a good blocker, too.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Laporta also. That Kincaid situation is a little sketchy the first couple of weeks over there. You would think he would have more targets.
Let you know in the chat what a 304 is, too.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember when we used to spell out words with
upside down on the TI-84.
Yeah, the age is coming out.
All right.
On the TI-84. And what's so funny is that they say a lot of 304s is down there in Miami. That's what's so crazy.
Yeah, a lot of 304s in the 305, huh?
Yeah, bro.
I got you. I'm not mad at that. Thank you for the clarification, Cookie Monster. I appreciate that, buddy. Oh, okay. I mean, listen, we're doing all types of algorithm calculations down here in the chat now. Got you. Thank you for all of that. Well noted now. All right, moving on from the 304s and the 305s, we're going back to the $5. The super chat from Mr. Doom. Says, hello, gentlemen. I appreciate y'all. You already know what it is around here. STFURTDBLFGNYGHTTR Appreciate you, my guy.
You see the question marks around y'all. It's like,
Yeah, I had to do a little, Anchorman head nod question mark there,
yeah,
just in
right.
case, We appreciate you as always. Oh my God.
Okay, wait. I got to shout out Patrick real quick before we move forward. We kind of on some jokes and whatnot, right? Did you see the clip of the 6-year-old that was mic'd up?
On what? In like flag
football? In a football game.
No.
You getting old. We need to keep you up to the memes and everything's going on.
I'm TikToking. I'm on all of it. I'm doing the reels.
But you one of them old dudes on, like, TikTok's the new thing. I got to download that app. You one of them dudes. So there's a 6-year-old that was mic'd up, right? And bro is a straight goon. He's like, you too little, boy. You too little, boy. He's like talking to him. They got him straight mic'd up while he's running people over. He's straight up terrorizing this Pee Wee football game, right? And my man Patrick was like, we were playing Apex yesterday, and he said, man, when I was 6 years old, I was saying shit like, hi, my name's Patrick. I was like, bro, this little kid was, they had to bleep out some of the curse words he was saying. He was like, you too little, boy, you too little. And then he might have said, he dropped an F-bomb or something like that.
Is he from the 305?
I don't know where he was from, bro, but he was a lot bigger than the rest of them 6-year-olds, and it was not fair. Like, if I'm a dad and you got some kid like that running over my kid, I'm liable to jump out on the field, straight up and down. But I thought, this new generation is just so different. Like, these kids, bro, like, they're adults when they're in elementary school. And like, I died laughing when Patrick told me that. He was just like, I play Apex Legends. I'm Patrick. I'm 6. I can count to 100. Like, that's the kind of shit we were saying when we were 6 years old, bro. Like, let's keep it real here.
All right, we're going to go with Will Levis, Caleb Wilson, or mic'd up 6-year-old. Caleb Wilson. We're going to go Will Levis, Caleb Williams, or mic'd up 6-year-old.
I'm going mic'd up 6-year-old, but
Mic'd
since
up
that's not an
6-year-old.
option today, I guess we got to go Will Levis. I mean,
Do we though?
Caleb Williams he's been struggling. The dude had 70 passing yards in a football game. When's the last time the number 1 draft pick had 60, 70 yards in a passing game? I'm gonna go ahead and say it was David Carr.
Are we blaming Chicago or are we blaming Caleb?
Both of them.
Okay. We're going Will Levis here. Big shout out to Impossible. That's French for impossible.
Oh, that's a good one.
Need one flex.
That's
Chuba,
French for impossible.
Jackson Smith and Jigba, or Jennings?
I go JSN.
JSN. JSN's going to eat today. I got a good feeling about JSN. This might be able to be used for a short. JSN's going to eat today. I think JSN goes for 100 and JSN goes for 100 plus and a touchdown today.
How did you say this might be able to be the B2B?
That's a good one. All right, up next, our guy, your guy, everybody's guy, James Jones, a.k.a. Lil TNT. Says Baker Mayfield, C.J. Stroud, or Derek Carr. I'm going to go with C.J. Stroud to cover my ass for telling Awthentik to bench Aaron Rodgers for C.J. Stroud. So that's my answer.
It better be some C.J. Stroud. I'm going C.J. Stroud, and if not C.J. Stroud, Baker Mayfield. But this is a good problem you got here, man.
It's three great
quarterbacks. You got a lot of good
quarterbacks.
quarterbacks. Yeah,
a lot of good quarterbacks. Dubman in the building. We appreciate you for the double time question. Dubman in the building with a $1.99 super chat. Says Sam Laporta or Roma Duzne at flex.
I definitely ain't going Romo Duzne, but I'm going to go Sam Laporta
Sam
for sure.
Laporta.
I got to wait to see it from Chicago, man. I have I thought Odunze was ruled out.
Nah, he's supposed to be back fully healthy now.
You did say 100% healthy. You did say that. Yeah. Odunze's on my personal bench, so I'm not playing him today.
The chat is on fire today. Mike's up 6-year-old by
certificate is crazy from Kai too. Yo, you know how many times that happened at St. Catherine's when we were playing ball, bro? They'd be like, nah, we checked dude's birth certificate and he's supposed to be on the big team. Like he's not supposed to be playing Pee Wee ball.
They used to hate on us Wheaton Boys and Girls Club baseball teams. They'd be like, there's no way all of y'all live in the same neighborhood.
Yeah, we was fire, bro. We was fire. I gotta post that picture in the community where we sitting on the bench and I got on the bandana. Like Ricky Williams out that joint.
Yeah. Playing catcher like a G. You gotta be. You have to be a certain type of kid to be able to play catcher. Like not every, because you could probably put most kids at most of the other positions, right?
Yeah.
But you gotta be somebody to play catcher,
absolutely,
first base, because those require different skills than just
first base. When them short hoppers, boy.
Yeah.
I used to see you take some punishment from them short hoppers back in the day.
I lost 2 teeth in one game, bro.
You used to try to scoop.
It's the scoop, man. The backhand is scoop. Oh, man. Big shout out, Dub, man. We appreciate you. And thanks. James Jones, a.k.a. Lil TNT, back in the building, says Brandon Ayuk or Alec Pierce.
This might backfire, but I have Ayuk on my squad, and this should be a week where he gets it going, man. We're in the 3rd week. You miss camp. All of that's great, but you're a player. You're supposed to be a wide receiver 1 in fantasy, at least for your squad, bro. And, he has not showed up the first 2 weeks. I'm hoping for a big game.
Brandon Ayuk. Listen, Brandon Ayuk is a guy who loses a guy in Debo. Alec Pierce is sometimes a guy who gets another guy back in the lineup, Josh Downs. So I'm going Brandon Ayuk in that situation. One of my favorite names in our chats, my guy, Duffel Bag Doug, says pick 1. Carson, Alligator Steel, cage match, running back. Javonte Williams or Zamir White. Whoosh.
I'm going to go Javonte Williams. It's all not good.
It's all not good. Listen.
It's all not good.
I want to go Javonte Williams too, but I feel like at some point throughout the day, I'm going to have to go with the alligator guy.
I feel you, man. And, going to the good team theory.
Yeah, good team theory. You might get a goal line touchdown. The Broncos are bad. Sean Payton.
Broncos they're terrible.
Can we say Sean Payton's overrated?
No.
Okay.
Not yet. It's a rookie quarterback.
Let me know when I can do that because I would like to be able to do that. Big shout out to Clever TV. Says, I have 3 flex spots and I'm confused as hell about who to start. I have Darnell. He might be back to the Mooney. Calvin Ridley, who does not play for the Jacksonville Jaguars anymore. Tank Dell, Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, Naylor, McLaurin.
It's tough. You need 3 of these guys. I go Calvin Ridley, Tank Dell, Michael Pittman.
I'm going to go Tank Dell, Calvin Ridley, and Jalen Naylor. That's going to be my 3. Oh, listen. We're going from Duffel Bag Doug to my guy Jetpack Jeff.
It's tight. Got the same
You guys
ring,
are,
too,
I love it.
I like it. I like it.
All right. Derek Carr, Anthony Richardson.
Damn. Now that's tough. Anthony Richardson coming off a 3-interception game last week. He should be able to get right. You know, these are them games where you got to play a little bit more safe, a little bit more secure, probably use your legs to try to, make some plays there too. So I could imagine a rushing touchdown. Derek Carr, I feel like it's the same situation as J.K. Dobbins. They're playing good football. Keep them in the lineup while they're playing good football until they're not playing good football, and then use the data moving forward. I think I'm going Derek Carr.
Damn, those are bars right there. If this would have been week 1, I would have said Anthony Richardson drop.
Absolutely.
No question. Easy. Drop of a dime. But I'm going to Awthentik just drop bars. We're going bars for Carr here. We're going Derek Carr, Jetpack Jeff. Appreciate you, bud. And then Clever TV says also Gino, Deshaun, might need to check my eyes, or
small.
Sam Darnold for my QB2. So super flex league. Ooh.
It's tough. Sam Darnold been playing good through 2 weeks, but it's Sam Darnold.
And it's
Deshaun
going
Watson,
against Houston.
No touchdowns last week, and what was his better game of the year. I think I'm going Geno Smith. Safe play. If you're in like a risk it type of situation, I think Deshaun Watson might be a good play because Giants defense has not been good. Have not been able to get after the quarterback. That secondary has been suspect. I think the safer ones are Sam Darnold and Geno Smith. A part of me wants to go Sam Darnold. Part of me really wants to go Sam Darnold.
I don't want to play Deshaun Watson ever, to be perfectly honest with you. I don't want to put myself in that situation. I need like 4 consecutive starts of Deshaun Watson looking like he's Houston Texans.
Throwing some
Deshaun
touchdowns.
Watson.
You need Amari Cooper to be showing you that he's locked in.
Yeah, so for me, it's between Sam Darnold and Geno Smith. I think Geno is the safer play here. So I'm going to go.
So?
I do. Sam Darnold, listen, I've been a Sam Darnold guy since I wasn't a Sam Darnold guy. And I'm more concerned about Sam Darnold's matchup than I am Geno Smith. When you're talking about these sort of guys, these guys aren't matchup-proof guys, in my opinion,
The
now.
matchups are very similar, I feel. Like the Dolphins' pass defense has been good
They're
this year.
good.
Yeah, they've been really good this year. The Texans have been pretty good dating back to last year and this year as well. I like Sam Darnold. I think it'll be you got more of the opportunity to have those 2 quarterbacks battling to try to keep the game close with the passing attack. I like Sam Darnold.
And let's look at it from this perspective. This is a super flex position, so this is his QB2. So I think you can risk it with Sam Darnold. Let's go Sam Darnold. We'll go Sam Darnold.
Let's do it.
And then Navi Stewart says Chargers versus Pittsburgh or Raiders versus Panthers. This is an interesting one. Defense, I'm assuming.
Which defense to pick?
I would imagine.
Yeah. Either Chargers or
Raiders.
Raiders.
I'm rocking Chargers defense across the boards.
It's the Panthers. Ugh.
It is the Panthers. But Pittsburgh's offense is horrendous. Chargers defense been playing good.
Horrendous offense been winning some games, though. I mean, they don't put up a lot of points,
They don't
though.
give you points for wins in fantasy.
Yep.
I'm going Chargers.
Still give me the Raiders. You going Chargers?
I'm going Chargers.
We couldn't help you out there, buddy.
Sorry about that one. All right, ladies and gentlemen. It is that time for rapid fire. We are going to pick every single game, the over, the under, the spread. We're going to give you all the goodies. And we're going to tell you how to put your parlays together with the information I give you. We did pretty good last week. Shout out Gregory. I don't know if I saw Gregory in the chat today, but shout out Gregory. He said
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah, because we weren't here last week. I just, we don't never really take days off, so it's like I'm just in my mind.
Yeah,
we worked
in
last
the
week.
zone. I'm with you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the first game on the slate is going to be the Houston Texans. They are 2-0. They are 1.5-point favorites. They are headed to Minnesota to face Sam Darnold and the Vikings, who are also 2-0. The over-under in this game is a nice vote at 5.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentik, tell me what you got.
Definitely taking the over in this matchup. Good battle between two quarterbacks. You know, one of them who's been proven from last season and another one who through 2 games has definitely been looking like a guy right now in that Minnesota Vikings offense. I think this is going to be a bit of an upset here. It's the Texans favored by 1.5, right? On the road.
Yes, it is.
I'm going with Sam Darnold and the Vikings. I think Brian Flores' defense is going to present some issues for C.J. Stroud. And hopefully in return, that gives me a guy that's, making some touchdowns and making some plays in garbage time late. And we can get a big game from C.J. Stroud. But I'm taking the Vikings in this one to continue on and go to 3-0.
Out the gate, Awthentik said, I ain't got to wait till the end to realize I didn't pick an upset. I'm just going to start off with one. I'm going Houston Texans. Give me the Texans. Texans to cover, and I'm going to take the over 45.5. I think it's a fun game. I think it's a close game, maybe even a 3-point game, but I don't think it's a 1-point game. So give me Houston, the 1.5, and the over.
No Jordan Addison. Tough.
Man, that's okay. They got my guy, Jalen Naylor.
Yeah, not a volume guy.
Oh, well, he's a touchdown guy. Up next. We got a bad team here. The Denver Broncos are 0-2. They're headed to Tampa Bay to face the Buccaneers, who are 6.5-point favorites. The over-under in this game is 40.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Listen, I don't know what is I don't know anything good about Denver except for this guy that I told you about that I had never heard of before that is a sleeper. That's it. Everything else I'm not paying attention to. Give me Tampa Bay. Give me Tampa Bay to cover to 6.5. I'm going to take the under. I'm going to take the under 40.5.
Absolutely. I'm right there with you. We locked in, man. I'm taking the under. Broncos might score 10 points in this game. Baker put up a good 24, 27, something like that. They'll get the under for sure.
Up next, he could not be starting because he is here with us. The Green Bay Packers are 1-1. No Awthentik at quarterback today. They are headed to Tennessee to face the Titans, the team that Calvin Ridley does actually play for. They are 0-2. They are 3-point favorites. The over and under in this game is a disgusting 37.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Before I kick it to Awthentik, I do want to say shout out to Malik Willis. I thought he had a great answer by when they were in the locker room and they asked him about revenge game against Tennessee. If you guys haven't seen that clip, I suggest you watch it. It's just another notch under the Malik Willis belt of why you should love this kid and root for this kid.
Very classy answer.
Yeah.
He talked about how much good they did for him over there, and most players won't do that when they leave an organization. Yeah, Malik Willis is a guy.
Definitely not. So who you going with this game?
I'm gonna take the Tennessee. I'm thinking of Malik Willis, the old Malik Willis. I'm gonna take the Green Bay Packers. I'm just rooting for Malik Willis in this one, like straight up and down. So Tennessee is favored by 3. Another upset, man. I think that we'll get over that 37.5 too. I think this game is going to be surprisingly a little bit higher scoring than most people think. But give me Malik Willis and the Packers, man, and filling in for your boy.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Tennessee right now. I truly don't. I guess it's the quarterback position.
Closing out games because Will Levis will play a good game manager game through 3 quarters. 4th quarter making hella mistakes.
Yeah, because I thought that they were going to be contending in that division. Everybody in that division is god awful except for the Houston Texans right now through the first couple of weeks. I'm also going to go the Green Bay Packers in the upset, and I'm also going to take the over. I do think we see a couple of like random big play touchdowns in this game, like on a reverse or a defensive touchdown or a special team sort of touchdown. But I like Green Bay in this game, and I like the over.
Glad you brought up defense. Xavier McKinney, an interception in each of the first 2 games. They could get a pick 6 or something like that from the Green Bay Packers standpoint. And I think that they're going to let Malik Willis kind of throw it a little bit more this week. I looked at his all 22 as well. When it comes like from an arm talent perspective, I think he's like the closest younger quarterback, like closest to Anthony Richardson as far as that you got that zip when you throw the ball like that. He had an out route, man. I think it was in the red zone as well, where he just like velocity, man. Velocity on that ball. So I hope they open it up a little bit more because I think that the Titans are going to come into this game and kind of try to stop Josh Jacobs in this one. So hopefully it leads to some big plays for Malik Willis down the field.
Up next, speaking of Anthony Richardson, the Chicago Bears are 1-1. They are headed to Indianapolis to face the Colts, who are 0-2. The Colts are a 1.5-point favorite. A lot of close lines so far. Over-under in this game is 43.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a tough one for me. I'm going to go Colts. I think the Colts win. I think the Colts cover. I think it's a close game. I think we're going to go under 43.5. I think this, you're looking at like a 2017, 21-20 sort of game here.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think that score might actually be the final score. I'm going to take the Colts in this one. Bears got a good defense. Colts' pass defense has not been that good thus far. So I do think this could be an opportunity for Caleb Williams to kind of get on track. Like, if they can throw the ball down the field, the Bears will be a much better team. Their defense has been keeping them in games, and it's just tough that Caleb Williams and that offense can't really get clicking, but their one victory comes on the strength of that defense. So I'm going to go with the Colts in this one. Hopefully Anthony Richardson can bounce back and get back to his true form that where we want to see him and where people are projecting him to be at. And I'll take the under as well.
Up next, it is the Los Angeles Justin High Sprain Herbert Chargers. They're 2-0. They're going to Pittsburgh. This game is in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is 2-0.
Pittsburgh, one more.
Pittsburgh. I feel like Carson Steele should be the running back for Pittsburgh.
Facts.
Right?
If it was like 76, yeah.
The Steelers are 2-0. They're 2.5-point favorites. The over-under in this game. Ooh. 35.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentik, tell me what you got.
I like the over. I like the Pittsburgh Steelers to cover. I'm going with Justin, the other Justin from the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mr. Justin Fields. Like I said, 2 touchdowns on the ground today and possibly 1 through the air.
I am not going with the Pittsburgh Steelers as much as I love Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin is my guy. Like, I love Mike Tomlin, okay? I'm going to go with the Chargers. J.K. Dobbins goes over 100 yards. They find a way to win. Chargers to win. I'm going to go. I'm going to take the under 35.5 in this game.
2 teams off to a 2-0 start like this that were, it's pretty interesting. Chargers were not good last year, and I don't know how the hell the Steelers won 10 games last year with Kenny Pickett at quarterback. I don't know how. But this going to be a good one. I think whoever gets to 3-0 here, good chance to get to the playoffs later on in the year.
Yeah, you're off to a really good start when you shouldn't be one of these teams. So shout out to them because we are not 2-0 in Washington or New York. So shout out to those guys. Up next, speaking of the NFC East, Philadelphia Eagles are 1-1. They are headed to New Orleans. The Saints are 2.5-point favorites. They are also 2-0. The over-under in this game is 49.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am taking the Saints in this game. I'm taking the Saints to cover, and I think I have the over in this game. I think it was like 27-24 was my prediction.
Yeah, I can't remember what I had on the preview show, but this is how I'm feeling today. I'm going to take the under in this one. I think that the Eagles are going to win this game, and I think they'll win it like fairly comfortably. Maybe by a touchdown, maybe by about a good 10 points. Give me the Eagles in this one. Give me the under. Another upset, huh? Weird lines this week.
I need a new notebook, by the way.
Hey, next time you pull up, I got 100 of them things over here.
Speaking of the NFC East, once again, and teams that aren't 2-0, the New York Giants, they are 0-2. They are headed to Cleveland Rocks to face the Browns, who are 1-1. The Browns are, this is crazy. The Browns are a 6.5-point favorite. The over-under in this game is 38.5. Kickoff is at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentik, tell me what you got.
This is going to be a tough game. I think if the Giants can play to their capability, especially on the defensive side of the ball, this one could be really close. I actually called this to be an overtime game on Twitter this morning if the Giants defense shows up. I'm not very confident in that. The Browns team that we have seen through 2 weeks is a team that has been very undisciplined, making a lot of mistakes. The penalties on offense have definitely been killing drives. You've been seeing Deshaun Watson doing his best job trying to scramble and extend plays. Wide receiver core dropping a lot of passes. I'm not as confident in them either because I don't know, are they going to be able to get over that hump offensively today? The one thing that we know for certain in this game is that the Browns have a good defense. right? You got Owusu Koromora. You got Myles Garrett out there. You got Denzel Ward out there. You got 3 Pro Bowlers on that defense. I think the defense shows up. And I think that will be why the Cleveland Browns probably cover that 6.5. If the Giants defense plays it close, this game will be around 20-17 in favor of God knows who. If the Giants defense does not show up in this one, I think that the Cleveland Browns are going to win this one pretty comfortably, like a 20-10 type of vibe, something like that. As far as fantasy-wise, I do think that Malik Neighbors has an opportunity here to have a big day, like a big day. Maybe not get in the end zone, but the Browns like to play a ton of cover 1, and when they're not playing cover 1, they play a very obvious cover 3. So to me, that lends well to Malik Neighbors catching a lot of stuff underneath on those comeback routes, those quick slant routes. They play off the ball, like far off the ball in their cover 3. And then if they're in that man-to-man coverage with a safety over the top, that might open up something for the other wide receivers for the New York Giants. If Jalen Hyatt could get on the field, I mean, you think about it, if you're in man-to-man coverage with cover 1, one safety over the top, if that safety picks Malik Neighbors, then Darius Slayton and Jalen Hyatt, both of them, should be able to have at least 1 or 2 big plays in this game. And to me, that's the only way that the Giants can win this one. But I'm going to believe it when I see it type of dude. So I'm going with the Browns. I'm going with the under. And, I think they covered the 6.5.
I don't think either one of these teams win the game, but I do think the Giants will lose the game. So I'm going to go Cleveland. I'm going to take Cleveland minus 6.5, and I think I'm taking the over. I think it's like, 39 total. Very, very close to the over. I think it was like 27-12 I had.
Gotcha.
Cleveland winning that game. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough one for the Giants, tough one for the Browns. I think you nailed it, though. Cleveland's defense, that's the big change here between these two teams. So I think Cleveland comes away.
Big test for that offensive line today for the Giants, too.
Mm-hmm. Big test. And also to see how healthy Myles Garrett is, that's going to be a big point in this game because he's playing and he's hurt. He's not injured, as we went over earlier in the game. So it'll be interesting to see how effective he is in this matchup. Up next, the 305s.
With the 304s.
They are 1-1. They're headed to Seattle to face the Seahawks, who are 2-0. The Seahawks are 4.5-point favorites. The over-under in this game is voted 1.5. Kickoff is at 4:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Whew, man, this one's tough for me. Like, Miami's a good team. I love Mike McDonald, and it's just, can they do it with Skylar Thompson on the road? Nope. Okay. I'm going to take Seattle to win. I'm going to take Miami to A-chan their way to a cover. So I think Miami covers the 4.5. Seattle wins. And I think we go under the 41.5.
I like the under 41.5. I don't think that the Dolphins are going to cover. I think Seattle's going to win this one pretty comfortably, maybe by about a good 10 points. I look at that matchup with the Dolphins against the Bills when Tua ended up getting hurt and how they were just getting completely destroyed even before Tua got hurt. And I look at the Seattle Seahawks team and I think, hey, if I were to put that team up against that Buffalo Bills team, would it look like that? I don't think so. I think that the Seahawks are going to come out a little bit recharged today. Charbonnet's going to be a guy. They'll get in the end zone more than they did last week. They struggled getting the ball in the end zone. It was 20-20 at the end of regulation, I believe, in that game versus the New England Patriots. So I'm looking at the Seahawks to come out and play some dominant football today. But Tyreek Hill, they're probably going to find a way to scheme him open. I think that any quarterback should be able to get him the ball underneath and allow him to get his yak. So he'll probably have a big player too in this one. But give me the Seahawks, and they'll cover that 4.5, and I'm taking the under.
Up next, the Carolina Panthers and the Red Rifle are 0-2. They are headed to Vegas to face Gardner, the mustache magician Minshew. And the Raiders are 1-1. Raiders are favored by 5.5. Over-under in this game is 39.5. Kickoff's at 4:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Authentic, tell me what you got.
Raiders all day. I'm going to take the over 39.5. I think they're going to score a ton of points in this game. Carolina Panthers look like a team that wouldn't even be able to compete, in the CFB right now. So, give me the Raiders. Give me the over. Covering the 5.5. I'll give it, we could push it to 10.5. The Raiders still going to cover.
I want to take Carolina to cover so bad. So bad. I'm going to take the Raiders to win. I'm going to take the over. I'm going to take Carolina to cover. I think they score a last end of the game touchdown to cut it to 5 points. That's where I'm going with that one.
All right.
But you
Still got that hope in the Carolina Panthers, I see.
it's not hope. It's just, sometimes
They're not
like
bad as we think they are.
yeah, they're bad. They're really bad.
Yeah, they are who we thought they were.
The San Francisco 49ers, they're 1-1. They're 6.5-point favorites. They are headed to the ER. The Los Angeles Rams, who literally have everybody either in the ER or on the IR. The over-under in this game is 43.5. Kickoff is at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There's a lot of people out in this game. George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Puka, Cooper. I mean, we could go on and on and on
CMC
here.
back this week?
What's that?
Is CMC back or is was he on IR?
He's on IR.
That's another one. Add him to the list.
Yeah. I guess I'm taking San Francisco to win this game. I'm going to take the Rams to cover. And I'm going to take the over 43.5.
We locked in over under though. I'm going to take the under. I think like 28-10.
This is the game of the 4:00 slate right here, though, for me. It is the Detroit Lions. They are 1-1. They are 3-point underdogs. They are headed to Arizona, who is also 1-1. The over-under in this game is a whopping 51.5. Kickoff is at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentik, tell me what you got.
All right, this is what I got. Whoever wins this game, book it, they will be in the playoffs. Love the way that the Cardinals have started off the season. You saw Marvin Harrison Jr. started to get things clicking with a couple of big plays last week. Kyler Murray, a guy who was trying to be pigeonholed into the box with the likes of Daniel Jones and even a guy like Gardner Minshew and even some other poor quarterbacks from around that era. I think he's shown you that he is definitely a different kind of playmaker, and he can make those kind of plays with his legs and extend plays from the pocket as well. I'm taking the Cardinals in this one, and yeah, I'm 51.5 is crazy. So you'd probably be like, I'm taking the under. I'm taking the under. Yeah.
I'm going to take the Lions to win. I'm going to take the Cardinals to cover, and I'm going to take the over. I think the Lions win by 1 point on a last-second field goal to win the game.
Good stuff. Good stuff. We got a couple of games here that we picked differently. I like that. So whoever, is right more this week is definitely going to take a little bit of a leap here when it comes to the record as far as the first couple of weeks here on the parlay.
I think we're going to be on the same page on this one. The Baltimore Ravens, they 0-2. They 1.5-point favorites on the road in what is no longer a home field advantage situation for the Dallas Cowboys, who have given up 1,632 points in their last two home games. They are
one game does that?
What?
The streak coming to an end, now home field is not an advantage no more?
I mean, the last two games, they've given up over 1,000 points at home.
It was 90, but yeah, one was in the playoffs as well. And if I got to keep that same energy. My Daniel Jones record has been through the regular season.
Okay.
Although I am the one that brought that up on the preview show.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
The over-under in this game is 47.5. Kickoff is at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Give me the Baltimore Ravens. Give me the Ravens to cover. Give me the over 47.5.
Damn it. Yeah. I'm with you, and it's look, like when I look at this game from like if I analyze it, I have a feeling the Cowboys are going to win this game at home. But I cannot see Lamar Jackson go to 0-3. I can't see that. I just cannot see that happening. So we locked in. I'm with you on this.
Up next, this game's actually fairly interesting. This is going to be the Sunday night game. The Kansas City Chiefs are 2-0. They are 3-point favorites. They are headed to Atlanta to face the Falcons, who are 1-1. Over-under in this game is 46.5. Kickoff is at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Awthentik, tell me what you got.
A lot of people try to tell me that the Falcons were a team ready to compete for a Super Bowl, and I still don't agree with that. I really think that they, just snuck out with the victory against the Philadelphia Eagles last week. Big defensive collapse, a drop from Saquon Barkley, some bad calls from Nick Sirianni with time management at the end of the game there. I think the Chiefs are going to win this one pretty easy. I'll take I'll take under 46.5 in this one. I think the Chiefs cover the 3.
It's just tough for me because I'm right there with you. I thought the Atlanta Falcons were going to be better than what they are. They kind of looked okay last week against Philadelphia, but I feel like Philly just blew that game. The
Yeah.
Chiefs, they're 2-0. They're the Chiefs. I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes. Give me the Chiefs. Give me the Chiefs to cover. I am gonna take the under 46.5. I think this game gets a little sloppy early on, so I'm gonna take the under. Chiefs to cover.
Yep.
Up
right
next, we got 2 Monday night games. Why do they do my Commanders like that? The Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 1-1. Calvin Ridley is not on their team. They are headed to Buffalo to face the Bills, who are 2-0. The Bills are 4.5-point favorites. The over-under is 45.5. Kickoff is at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Are the Jaguars really going to go to 1-2? I can't.
That's lucky for them right now, the way they've been playing.
Yeah. I'm going to take the Bills to win. I'm going to take the Jags to cover. It's a 3-point win for Bills. I'm going to take the under 45.5.
I don't think the Jags cover in this one. I wanted to just check because I got their week 2 game like locked into my memory against the Browns. I just wanted to see what they did. Week 1 was against the Dolphins, healthy, and they lost by 3. So they can compete with some better teams. But you saw the Dolphins, and I don't like to do this normally. You saw them against the Bills. I think the Bills got this. Bills cover. Give me the under 45.5.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a sloppy one. Sloppy one in Buffalo. Up next, it is the real Monday night game. It is my Washington Commanders, who are 1-1. They are headed to Cincinnati to face the Joe Burrow Bengals, who are 2-0. That's not right. They're not 2-0.
They're 0-2.
Yeah. They feel like a 2-0 team when they're playing the Washington Commanders. They're
crazy.
favored by 7.5, which I believe is the largest spread of the week. The over-under,
wow.
Yeah, it's the largest spread of the week. The over-under is 46.5. Kickoff is at 8:15 on Monday night. Awthentik, tell me what you got.
I really want to change my pick from our preview show on Thursday, but I don't know, man. Jaden Daniels is a problem. Like, that game last week, they did not punt the ball. He ends up getting 7 field goals on those possessions. If you could get a big play or two, man, that offense will be clicking. Y'all will be in business. But this is the same kind of situation as Lamar Jackson. Joe Burrow sitting at 0-3.
Yeah.
If they go to 0-3, I have more faith that the Ravens can climb themselves out of that hole and make it to the playoffs. If the Bengals fall to 0-3, man, I don't want to, jump the gun here. I think it might be over. They might be cooked as far as the playoff goes at 0-3 in the AFC. I'm going to stick with the script, man.
This is the thing, though. Bengals, Ravens, right? The Steelers aren't going to maintain their winning ways at the rest of the season. They'll probably finish over 500.
Why won't they?
Because they don't have an offense.
Doesn't matter. Last year, their offense, it literally
and how many
was
games did they win?
Damn
9, right?
Surprised that they won 10 games.
Yeah, the 10 games.
All the analytics towards their offense, their starting quarterback had 6 passing touchdowns, and they won 10 games, bro. That's not going to happen this year.
Well,
they might get some more mistakes at the quarterback position, but there's no way that if Justin Fields and Russell Wilson start these games combined, there's no way they're going to throw for 6 passing touchdowns. So I think that this is a better team. George Pickens now in year 2 is a better wide receiver than he was last year.
Yeah.
They know how to utilize their running game to make it work for them. And their defense is what they've always been. That defense is always going to cause problems and keep the score low. I just don't see it in that division. The Ravens are going to be a team that in the middle of the year can get better. They're still waiting on Derrick Henry to become the guy that they know he is.
True.
And when you switch over from one team to the next, I think that definitely, you have to get accustomed to their ways and how they do things and how Todd Monken runs that offense. But with the Bengals here, look what they're dealing with at running back right now. They didn't make the upgrade that the Ravens made.
Yeah.
Outside of that, they're relatively the same team. They have to win this game. If they don't win this game, I'm telling you, they're not going to make the playoffs. The 0-2 statistics and percentages already scream you're not making the playoffs. At 0-3, I can imagine it's not over 1%. It can't be. And in that division, it's not going to be easy. So I think they have to win this game. I'm going to pick Washington to cover. I don't know what I did on Thursday. I'm going to pick Washington to cover. I think it'll be a close game. And I think it'll be just under that under. I think Bengals win it like 24-21, 24-20, something like that.
I will tell you I put money on Washington to win this game. I will also tell you that the Cincinnati Bengals are going to win this game. I'm going to take the Commanders to cover the spread, and I think we get over 46.5. I think I had 27-24 Bengals in this game. But Washington could come around, mess up around and win the game. They could, but I don't have that level of confidence in the Commanders defense right now. And I feel like we're going to be a get right game for a lot of teams, and not in a bad way, like we're getting embarrassed and we're not competing. But I think that we have so many holes defensively. It's tough to pick your team to win in a matchup like this.
Yeah, if your linebackers can step up and stop the run and make things a little bit more predictable, I do think for Washington to win is going to take a turnover. If you guys get a turnover in this game early, get out to a lead, maybe like 13-6, 13-3 type vibes, I think that Jaden Daniels' speed is going to be a problem for this Bengals defense. They do got Trey Hendrickson coming off the edge, but he's more of a, like a power rush type of defensive end. I think his speed's going to just give them problems. And his legs and his ability to, convert on third downs that we saw against the New York Giants, like, I've already picked too many upsets. 3 on the day is just way too many. I can't pick another one, but, like, I can't wait to watch this game. Great way to finish out, week 3 with the Commanders here.
It'll be a lot of fun to watch. Hopefully, it will be a lot of fun to watch, and I'm not just saying that for fun, because it can be brutal watching your team, as I'm sure you know that, being a New York Giants fan.
Yeah. But this is the season where you guys will, like, you want to commit to the rebuild and whatnot. And as a fan, you have to be patient during those times, right? But you're going to be in a lot of games where you get off the edge of your seat and you stand up and you might fall short in some of those games. And it's going to be a big heartbreaker. But understand y'all are going in the right direction. I think, the development of Jaden Daniels is going to be very important for you guys. And so far, like, he looks like the best QB in the class that has started so far.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to round out week 3 here at the Parlay. Big shout out to everybody in the chat. We went through 28 fantasy football questions for everybody today. We appreciate all the love and all the support. We wish your teams the best luck, both your real teams and your fantasy teams. Awthentik, tell the people where they can find you next.
Today, we're going to be on Bleacher Report after the Giants game. It'll be right around 4 o'clock. I'll probably set the stream for about 4:10. Normally lags over just a little bit. Tomorrow, we'll be back with the Giant Overreaction as well at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on this same exact channel. And then Tuesday, back for the recaps. And, we're going to run it back again, man, and do what we do over here, man, and get ready for these Thursday night previews, which, the main prime event is going to be the Giants versus the Dallas Cowboys in Jerry World, where if the Giants don't win today, it's going to get real, real, real warm. Real hot, real cooking. When you jump in the shower and you turn the lever a little bit too far to that hot side, that water hits your back. I had the water hit my eardrum the other day, and it was too hot. I was like, God damn. Can't mess up with the ears now, man. Those are the money makers. But it's getting really ugly in New York right now, and must-win situation. So, I'm looking forward to this week rounding out. It's going to be a really good, defining week for the NFL here. I think after 3 weeks of data, we'll kind of know where a lot of these players lie. And it'll be a lot easier setting our fantasy lineups moving forward. But definitely a vibe today. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. It was definitely a good vibe.
Yep. And make sure you guys and gals give us a follow on Twitter at Awthentik and at Tim Walk on Water too. Appreciate all the love and all the support. And Awthentik will take us home. Yeah, man. Y'all know what it is. Best of luck today in your games. Enjoy them. Most importantly, man, don't get too reeled in by these teams. Be calm. Be collective. Understand what's at stake here. It's not that much in the NFC East when you wear the blue and you wear the burgundy. Y'all know what it is, man. Enjoy it. Watch a lot of Red Zone. It's going to be a good day. Keep raising that bar, y'all. Keep living those dreams because the universe flows in Technicolor. And a life in black and white is a life without dreams, man. Y'all know what it is. Rest in peace to the podcast GOAT, Combat Jack. And that's a wrap, man. We will catch y'all next week. Best of luck in y'all fantasy, man. I hope y'all get the dubs. I know I need it today. I need some big games. We'll catch y'all tomorrow. Or if you want to pop in on the Bleacher Report show at 4 o'clock, pop in. But if not, we'll catch y'all tomorrow on the Giant Overreaction. Y'all be good, man. Peace.